All right, we are going to move on in our discussion of the normal distribution, and we're going to talk about how to find probabilities in a normal distribution using a calculator instead of using those percentages that we had on that graph. So this is lesson 7.2, and let's get started. There are certain commands on your calculator depending on which calculator you're using. All you need to know in order to figure this out is the mean, which is mu, the standard deviation, which we've called sigma, and then we want to find the probability that a certain measurement is between a lower bound and an upper bound. So I need those two numbers as well. Okay, so that's the order for a Casio. You'll find the function norm CD in your catalog, and the four arguments you need, or the four parameters you need in order, are the lower bound, the upper bound, your sigma, and your mu. So your standard deviation and then your mean. The only difference with TI is it's a different function name. It's called normal CDF. You'll do the lower first and then the upper, but notice how mu and sigma are switched. So you want to be careful depending on which calculator you're using. You'll still need all four parameters, but you'll need to remember, depending on which calculator you're using, what order those parameters go in. So here's just some examples. If I have mu equaling 125 and sigma equaling 20, what's the probability that some x is between 105 and 135? So I have my mu, it's 125. I have my sigma, it's 20. I have my lower bound, it's 105, and I have my upper bound, it's 135. So here's what I'll enter. On a Casio, I'll do norm CD, 105, then 135, then 20, and then 125. On a TI, same thing, different function name. Remember to switch the last two numbers so that the mean comes before the standard deviation. Either way, I'll get an answer of 0.5328, and that's just rounded to 4 significant digits. What's the probability that some value is between 80 and 150? Same thing. On a Casio, do norm CD from 80 to 150. Sigma is still 20, and mu is still 125. On a TI, same thing. Remember to change the order of the last two numbers and use a different function name, and I'll get 0.8822. All right. Now, sometimes things happen where I don't have an upper and a lower bound. Now, if I don't have a lower bound, I'm going to use negative 999 as a rule, and if there's no upper bound, I'm going to use 999. Now, obviously, I won't use that if my data is, or if those numbers are within the range of my data, then it doesn't make sense. Basically, what I want to do is use a number that is beyond 3 standard deviations from the mean, just so that I can make sure that it's out of range of the majority of the data. So again, I've got mu equaling 125 and sigma equaling 20. If I just want the probability that something is less than or equal to 130, then I'll use negative 999 as my lower bound. I'll use 130 as my upper bound. 20 is still my sigma, and 125 is still my mu. TI, same thing. Change the last two numbers, change the order of those, and I get an answer of 0.5987. And if I wanted the probability that something is greater than 100, then we'll go from 100 to 999. Use sigma as 20, use mu as 125. Same thing for a TI. Switch the last two digits, but use 100 as the lower bound and 999 as the upper bound. Either way, I get 0.8944 as my answer. So that's how you enter those things into a calculator. If you have questions on this, please let me know, and I will see you tomorrow.